Okay, it's Grant Cameron again. We're at Ozark 2018, the UFO conference here. I have my friend Kevin Estrella here again, and we've had a number of conversations over the years since we first met, and you've gotten into a more elaborate UFO world. And I want to go through some experiences, some telepathy stuff, because people know I'm into the consciousness thing, into channelers, into people who are actually interacting with a phenomena, which I think is important. And you came across an important element, so maybe you can explain in basic terms who you're dealing with, what's going on, where you got the idea, and then we'll go from there.
Sure, yeah. So about a year ago, I was introduced from a friend of mine. His name's Cale, who he lives in Queensland, and he told me about this group of extraterrestrials who are using Twitter.
Okay.
And he said they're called @Sandia Wisdom.
Did you find it strange at first when you said Twitter? I mean.
Oh no, I use Twitter all the time.
No, but I mean in terms of, yeah, you promoted your site, but I mean, did
Yeah.
you find it strange that someone would say aliens are using Twitter?
I thought it didn't surprise me. I figured that somebody.
Because you used Twitter you had how many people on Twitter?
I've got 100,000 followers
yeah.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's why this synchronicity happened with Twitter. So these aliens are using Twitter. Okay, go on.
Yeah, they don't like being called aliens. They like being called, you can call them Zetas or the Ponti, because that's where they're from.
Okay, but so what kind of groups are we dealing? If it's not aliens, I mean, are we?
Oh,
But are we dealing with specific types of, say? So what are the groups that we're dealing with?
Yeah, these guys right here.
Okay, but so what are, I mean, what would they want to be described as? By their culture or their?
They say you can call them ETs, you can call them Zetas.
Okay.
Just don't call them Greys, because they don't call us black or white. That's
okay.
kind of racist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get in contact.
Yeah. So I follow them on Twitter, and I'm feeling them out to see whether this is real or not. And through the conversations and reading back on their other website that has their tweets and stuff, I started to realize the stuff they were talking about was really deep and profound, and they did not seem to be misleading people. And I followed them for weeks upon weeks, and finally realized, oh my God, they're the real deal. And there's 4 of them. There's Tilcum. That's Tilcum there.
Okay.
He's the commander.
Okay.
You got Drudy. She's public relations.
Wow.
You have Teeny. She's telepathy. And then you have Radar. He's their long path telepath, and also archaeoplanetographer, and he's also their pilot, their main pilot.
Okay. And how are they posting this stuff? How are they getting it on?
Well, I found out that it's not them who's actually physically doing it on Twitter. It's through a telepath who they work with. Her name's Sue Walker.
And she lives where?
She lives in Albuquerque.
Okay.
Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is where they reside, because that's how she discovered them. It was completely accident how she discovered them.
How did she discover them?
She and her husband, because you have to understand that she's been a professional telepath for 27 years. Sue Walker's worked with the CIA, she's worked with the FBI on multiple cases, and she's well known as a telepath.
Oh, okay.
Her husband, White Otter, is a shaman, and he's been, so being a telepath is very natural for him. So one day they're just watching The Voice or something like that.
Okay.
America's Got Talent, and they were talking about how great this one singer was. When all of a sudden this voice came in the room and said, "Oh yes, he's very good, he should win." And they both went, "What the heck?" And they look at the mountain, because the mountain's over there, the Sandia Mountain, which is where they're at.
Yeah.
And it was like him speaking. And so that was the beginning. And so every once in a while they'd be talking, and he would come in and make his little comments and stuff. So it kind of played off like this. And so then eventually, after a few months, she decided to give him a name, because she was tired of calling it The Voice from the Mountain. And so she just called it Sandia, which in Spanish means watermelon. And he pipes back, "Oh, watermelon head, that'll do." And then she realized, okay, who am I dealing with here?
Okay.
And so eventually she started to learn, he started to let a little bit more about who they were, that they're from the Zeta Reticuli 2, the 5th planet orbiting Zeta Reticuli 2, the planet called Pontel. They are the Ponti, they are the shorter Zetas who we see around.
Mm-hmm.
They're working in this base, which is 2 miles underneath the Sandia Mountains. They've been here for several decades, preparing the Earth for official first contact.
Okay.
Which is to happen in 2021. So this is what's happening.
Oh, okay.
It's a big deal. I've been working now, I'm really good friends with Sue. We talk all the time. I've been over to her place, Katerina and I were over there in December.
Oh, okay.
I actually saw radar in my peripheral vision.
Oh, is it right?
Oh yeah, I sure did. He played some tricks on me too. And it was pretty funny. But, you know, Sue has contact with them on a regular basis. They do show up at her place. Sometimes they're cloaked, sometimes they've misplaced their cloak, and she'll just walk by one of them. Oh, hi Sarah, how you doing? Don't mind me, I'm just getting a drink of water. You know? So they are very real, very real. And I've been friends with them, I've been working with them, I've been getting them radio interviews and really trying to help spread the word to help their message. So what's transpired is that 2018, there's a lot more CE5 contact that's going on. They've lowered their protocols now than they used to have, because the main protocol was for any contact is to not to cause no harm, cause no fear, leave no trace.
Oh, cool.
This is their protocol. They get in big trouble if any of those are broken.
Okay.
So that's why, you know, people who want to have ET contact you have to give permission first. You have to give full permission for them to contact you. And it's just not like, you know, you may have to do it for months or years, depending, because you need to communicate it on an emotional wavelength of pure honesty, of pure truth, of I want contact, I want to meet you. And then they will listen to you.
So did you do this?
Oh, I did, yeah.
And did it work right away?
Yeah. Well, no, it didn't work right away. I mean, like, to meet with them.
Yeah, for you to get involved, because first you was observing, then you moved in, so you must have used that.
Well, I've had several different cases of it. I think I've met with them many times over the last year, but they compartmentalize your memory.
Okay.
And it's been described as basically like partitioning a hard drive and then pulling the plug.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have really conscious memories. I know that they've come and visited my daughter, because she gifted a guitar to Radar, and Radar was just so taken by it that that message actually went all the way, that tweet went viral all the way back to their planet of this 10-year-old girl who's gifting a guitar to Radar.
Wow. So your daughter's involved as well?
Yeah.
Is she following it, or she?
She doesn't follow Twitter, but she you know, she really has a lot of emotional connections to Radar, and
wow.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, and and so what happened was, my first real conscious memory of their visit actually happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago, because Sue told me that I was on the schedule for a visit, and that I would know that I had been visited if there was something that was out of place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so I remember waking up one Wednesday morning in the middle of the night, and I heard a noise downstairs, and I looked down, because I live in a loft, so it's a one-room part. I looked down, because there was a noise that was obviously wasn't something natural. It sounded like somebody moved something. I look down, I don't see anything, I go back to sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night to the feeling of liquid draining out of my left ear. It was just like it poured out of my ear, like there was water behind, or some kind of liquid was behind my ear, and it just poured out and drained out of my ear, and I just go like that. I was like, what the heck was that? I don't know what the heck going on. It was really weird. It was really annoying. And so I wake up and I go to work the next day. I come home and I'm walking over to my computer, and then I look and I have this little guitar, this little statue of a guitar player made of wood, and he's facing the wall. And I'm going, was I drunk last night? Did I drop that and put it back up there?
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking last night. I wouldn't even have done that anyway. So I realized, oh my God, I think they visited. And so the next morning, same morning, I go onto Twitter and I tweet to them saying, hey, Jordy, do you know about this? So I took a picture of it, and she said, message came back from one of the trainees that they thought your figure was strangely cute.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, they did. And then another tweet came back saying, our apologies if we didn't put it back properly. And I said, that's fine. I'm really happy that you came.
Yeah.
Now, it was over the next couple of days that I realized why they visited me. What happened was, for the next few days, and then every morning when I would urinate, my urinate was really putrid smelling.
Yeah.
It smelled like kind of metallic, kind of chemical, and it was just like, oh my God, what the heck? It was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And so this happened over a couple days. And then my friend Cale, who had introduced me to the group, said to me, because I told him I think I was visited, and he was kind of jealous. But then he starts saying, oh, wait a second, I was visited by Judy last night. And he starts giving this whole description of, you know, her waiting on the bed, waiting for him to go to sleep because they had to do a procedure on him and clear some things out of his head. And then all of a sudden I started thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait a second. And then I go up to my pillow, and I notice on my pillow, there's this, almost like a blood stain on my pillow where my ear was. It's kind of orangish red. And then I was putting this thing together. Wait a second. And then I tweeted, I messaged him, I said, I just realized that same night that they came and visited, that liquid drained into my left ear. And he said, oh yes, thank you for reminding me about that. That was part of the procedure. I'm like, what? He says, yeah. And now the other things I found out, because there's a couple of us who keep following me on Twitter, that several of us have had the same procedure, because Jason, he had liquid coming out of his ears too. So what happened was, as Cale explained, was that they put a liquid into our ear. It was to clear stuff out of our heads. And that was, and it was like goo or black goo or something they were clearing out of our heads. And I know that took about 10 days for it to finally clear. And at the end of those 10 days, like my ears were sore for a few days. My hearing was more enhanced. But by the end of the 10 days, I felt my whole brain, in like areas of my brain and consciousness, activating like they'd never have before. Like I could feel my entire brain, and I could feel like I could activate much more greater areas of my consciousness than I had experienced before. So it was a very wonderful gift that they gave me, and I know, and I got the physical evidence. I've cut the piece out. I've been talking with Stu Bundy from MUFON, and it's going to be sent to a lab, because whatever is in that, whatever they put in my head, it was important, and I think they were flushing all the impurities, like probably all the fluoride out of my head, because of the poisonous that they're trying to poison us and dumb us down and make us more complacent and not being able to connect with our higher selves, trying to make our brains as cloudy as possible to keep us controlled. That's what I honestly believe and feel myself. So whatever they've done, they've cleared it out. They've done it to several. They've done it to several of us who we're following with them on Twitter.
Okay, and so I heard recently I became involved.
Yes, you did.
To that.
Here's what I found out. So I remember, all I have a memory of is this very small, vague memory of a dream. It was so, I can't picture the dream. It was like, it's the first time in a dream where you can't see the dream, all you can hear it and you can feel it. And I just remember these two short people, and I'm having a conversation, and I'm laughing so hard I cannot control myself. It's so hilarious. And I remember hearing other people laughing too. And it was just this wonderful joyous, it was extreme joy and a feeling of whatever I was experiencing. And then one of the other guys on Twitter, he messaged me back saying, do you remember meeting with Tilcom and Radar? And I'm like, no, I don't remember meeting with Tilcom and Radar. He says, well, I was there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he says, well, I was standing off the side, you were having a meeting with two people, and with Radar and Tilcom, it seemed very serious. And so what I learned from more, because then I talked to Cale again, and then he was filling some things in. He said, because I have to understand, Cale, he channels with the tall white, her name's Dee Dee, and I actually interviewed Dee Dee and Cale on my radio show. And Dee Dee was actually present during this whole meeting. And then she said to me, you need to ask Grant Cameron a question. And I'm like, oh yeah? And he says, ask him, or tell him next time to watch the steps. And I'm like, why? And Cale didn't understand either. And Cale's experienced this too, where it's like, he'll get a message from somebody, from Judy, from Dee Dee, doesn't understand what it means, he relays it to the person who's supposed to, and then all of a sudden they understand what it's about. So I was told, don't say anything, Kevin, just go to Grant and say, next time watch the steps. Because apparently what happened was that you were there at this meeting too, but you were just so excited with the whole thing that was going on. I think you were looking at me, paying attention to me too much, because you were on my right-hand side, and then the steps were really high, and you tripped and you fell. And you almost fell off the side.
Yeah.
And so Tilcom was giggling, Dee Dee was giggling, and Dee Dee said, just pass this message on to Grant. So apparently, because I don't have any much memory of this meeting at all, but two other people have confirmed it, and And I just remember this vague, as I said, this vague dream. I don't even remember, I just seen blurs. That's a blurred dream and just the emotions. The only thing I remember being able to remember are hanging on to these emotions. And I know that my love for these guys has just increased exponentially. And that's the only thing that I'm able to remember right now, is just latching onto the dreams, because the memories have been compartmentalized.
Wow. So, to end this, you have a radio, go through your radio show, you have T-shirts, you have,
Yeah.
how can people follow this story?
Oh, yeah,
Follow
sure.
your music, follow your radio show, just give us your links and we'll link
Oh,
them
yeah, yeah.
into the video.
Everything can be found at pyramidsonmars.com. That's
Okay.
my website. It has links to Pyramids on Mars UFO Radio. You can download any of the podcasts of the people that I interview, because I interview hybrids. I actually interview real aliens, who are channeled through other people, through Hildegard and stuff like that. I interview Grant Cameron.
Yeah.
And
And how many shows have you done?
Probably about 20 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have the T-shirts and the...
T-shirts, there's a store at the website as well.
Okay.
My CDs are there as well. People can, listen to the CDs and they can purchase them off the website.
And they can follow the story, like if they want to follow this story, is there an
Oh, yeah.
update?
Yeah, if you go in my website, there's a link to interviews, and you will find a page about this long of interviews that I've done.
Okay.
All my own personal interviews. So it's kind of like eventually the book will come out, but it's a chronological order of all the crazy things that go on, because every week something new is always happening.
Okay.
It's a C5 journey.
Is there a way they can follow the Twitter feed or anything?
Oh yeah, I'm at Pyramids on Mars _ is.
And you
is
can
my
see
Twitter.
the postings that are being done in the States, like with regards to the Sandia thing?
Yeah, if you go to @Sandia Wisdom on Twitter.
But you don't have it linked at your, have you got it linked at your site so they know how to follow it? Because they'll know yours, but if they want to follow what these guys are
I don't.
tweeting.
Just look it up right
Okay.
there. @Sandia Wisdom.
Exciting,
Check these guys out.
exciting stuff.
And just so you know, no, they're not all clones. They're very much. They have as much individual physical features as we do. They have their sense of humor is crazy.
Yeah.
They all have different personalities. They're jokers, and apparently right now, as we speak, Radar and Grayson and PETA are wandering around here, and they're
Is that right?
planning on giving me a Zerber or a raspberry in my ear.
Wow, it's right here at the corner.
That's what they're planning on
Beautiful.
doing.
Well, say hi to them and thanks for the story. Wonderful. Well, wonderful.